Okay, so we're at the last stretch. We're almost there. We're almost done. But this one is I don't know how you're gonna feel with some of the questions, but you know they're never easy. So let's have some
That's it.
fun.
That's it.
So what would we're gonna start off with nice and easy to begin the last. What would your teammates and coaches describe you as?
Ooh. I think they would describe me as my teammates now. I'll go from Exiles because obviously, I'm kind of new to Hornets, but I think they describe me as committed, as hardworking, probably too quick to temper.
Ah,
Uh, I think they'd probably tell you that I need to manage my expectations of myself and other people
okay,
more. Um, but I think I'd like to think they'd say I was committed, and I'd like to think a good player.
okay, okay. Now, what would you describe yourself as? One word.
Oof. One word, what, as
One
in a player?
one word to describe yourself as a player. Yeah.
um, I don't know. Persistent,
Okay.
maybe emotional, probably persistent. Like I don't, I won't stop until like I absolutely have to. Be that on a play, on a rush, on a career, on anything. Like I just it's not for it's just not me. I'll stop when I absolutely have to. When I've got no choice but to. I make no apologies for it. Like it's just always been me, and I think it just gets to the stage where you are who you are. I can try and temper myself, and I can try and change. Um, but yeah, it's just me. I'm not. I'll stop when I absolutely have to.
Okay. Okay. S- Well, this one is more towards Bafa's side. But how do you feel that this year, for some reason, there is a ridiculous shortage of referees?
Yeah.
Now, why do you think that's the case? Do you think that there's a particular reason, or
Well, to be honest, I always try and be careful about talking about stuff I don't know about. Do referees get paid?
I'm not sure?
Right. So if they don't get paid, um, I don't know. I know, and I've been man, I'll do this on Sunday. I'll try and stop myself, but I know I won't. I've given referees stick before and given them ag and things like that. I think we all do. And I think to come out and volunteer your time for free and basically with no reward for it whatsoever
Yeah.
is probably a tough thing to do. And we're all out there, and we're putting in time, and you're in the gym and you're in your playbooks, and you're playing, and these games mean a lot to us. They mean a lot to us, and they can't mean as much to refs as they do to us.
Yeah.
They can't you know. So we're impassioned about it, and we give refs stick, and it's important that their decisions can make or break a game. So sort of 60 players giving them ag for 5 hours, it's not an environment that I necessarily want to put myself into. If they do get paid, it can only be BAFA not not recruiting, not putting on courses, not doing what they want to do, because I don't see how there's not a flavour for it if people get paid for it. I don't see how there can't be. So it's got to be them kind of just not
Yeah.
doing whatever it is they need to be doing, really.
Okay. Okay. That's a very good perspective actually, and I can't really disagree. Ooh, I'm sorry that I'm gonna have to make you think of a bad memory right now.
Yeah,
What's the most heartbreaking moment you've had during a game?
probably that final when um, I felt like our coach had given up on us.
What coach was that?
That was it was the old defensive coordinator. I don't want to throw his name name out there, but it was the old, it won't be hard to work out, but it was the old. It was a tough game anyway because I saw a good friend of mine, Ian, and he went down hard that game.
Yeah.
And that's always heartbreaking anyway. He was taken off in an ambulance, got a concussion, so that weighs on you anyway. Another friend of mine, Nick, he went down quite hard. We had to carry him up to get his medal. That
Oh
was tough.
wow.
So that on top of that, and then to get through all of that, to fight and do everything, prove all the naysayers wrong. Even Baffa beforehand, they had a commentator basically give us absolutely no chance against Leicester, none
Oh,
whatsoever. Like, I mean, so she made it sound like we're going to get absolutely worked. To shut everybody up, prove everybody wrong, to get that far, to be 2 minutes from the end and feel like you don't think we can do this because those players wouldn't be on the field. It was broken. And actually, I think a lot of Tay especially, but I think a lot of our players went back to certain clubs because of that.
oh
I think
wow.
we didn't retain that defense. I think we had statistically. I mean, statistics don't really mean anything, but statistically, I think we had the second best defense in the country. I appreciate we weren't playing in the Prem, so it's
Yeah.
all subjective, but points against it was. And at that point, we lost a lot of players because I think it felt like he gave up on us a little bit, and that was tough.
Okay, so what was the team after that? Obviously, once that season finished, when it came to pre-season, was there a particular type of goal for the next season after that happening with that coach?
Well, he
After,
left.
oh,
Oh, did he
he,
leave? No, he didn't. He stayed. He stayed an extra year. I think our whole goal for that season was just to stay in the Prem.
okay,
Was to get up, was to establish ourselves. We knew. It's hard. People come up and come down all the time, but we stayed where we were. We wanted to try and retain some players, but a lot of players left. Um, it is what it is. We had what we had, and we just managed to do it. It was a tough season. I think we lost to everybody minus Farnham.
yeah,
I think we got beat by everyone, and we did what we need to do. But that's kind of Kent. I think John Moore is definitely a man of a plan, and slowly but surely they'll get towards it. But yeah, and then that particular coach left, and then in came Neo, and
yeah.
shit got different.
Okay, so obviously with Omari and when he was there, what was the vibe when he obviously got forced out from the team? What was the vibe with everyone?
Um, it was different really because a lot of players weren't subject to the conversation. Obviously, I was
Yeah,
because he screenshot it and shit. So, but I think the thing with it, and it wasn't just Amari, but it was a few of the boys. There was a culture at Kent that was starting to change, and I think it was a welcome change for a lot of the players. And he was one of the catalysts for that. So when he wasn't about, people wanted to know why, and it felt like we'd taken a couple of steps back. We kind of regressed back into this kind of, trying to find our feet, Div 1 team, when it was the worst time for us to do it
yeah,
because, if there's ever a time you need that kind of aggressive, go out and get after it culture, no matter who you're playing, it's in the Premiership.
yeah.
For me, I know Omari, I know his intentions, I know what his intentions were. And I said the same to John Moore. I think John Moore made a mistake. I said that to John Moore. I think as well as being a good player, I think there's certain intangibles that certain players bring. You know what it's like when you turn up, right? Either you are one or you know them. If there are certain players that are in the locker room with you, you think, right, we're going to get after it today. If those players are injured or missing, it affects the team.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it was an overreaction. I've said all this to John Moore. Do I think he agrees with me? I think in hindsight, if he'd have not reacted as quick, I don't think that Omari would have been off the team.
Okay.
I think what he did is he reacted maybe in anger or in whatever he reacted in emotion. And I think afterwards he realised that it might not have been the best decision. But he's a man of his word, and he stuck by it. He said it wasn't for him that year, and that was that.
Okay.
But I for me, I was angry about it because I felt like it wasn't in the best interest of the team. Might have been in the best interest of certain coaches, maybe even certain players. And I know he's a pain, like the way he trains and everything like that. But and I appreciate, you can't give certain players, you can't let them have free rein to do and say what they want.
Yeah.
But I know what he meant by that message, and he didn't mean that message how it came across. But no one ever really gave him the opportunity to explain it. And if they did, then maybe they didn't believe him or whatever. But it hindered the team because I think him being there would have brought Tay back to us, maybe even brought Miguel back, and we just start to rebuild that team that actually, got us to where we needed to be.
Okay. So do you feel that there's certain coaches that are stuck in their way, or they don't want someone that can talk and back themselves up?
Um, I don't know. I think there's. I wouldn't say. I think John's open to to every sort of player really, and I think he can coach every sort of player. I think with Omari, he was the kind of the most outspoken, so he was kind of like the extreme end of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether they thought it was harming the team, or whether I really don't know. It definitely, from a player's perspective, I mean, I wasn't involved in those coaches' chats and stuff, and I wasn't involved in what the coaches kind of wanted to do. But I know that from a player's perspective, he never did anything but to help the team and assist the team, and him being around and him talking and him being himself and him being all that didn't do anything but push the players on. I don't know any players that didn't respond well to it. So it can only be a decision that the coaches felt was best for themselves, or mistakenly thought was best for us.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. So, how many games have you played for Hornets this year? 4?
3. Yeah, 5. It's the 5th game on Sunday. I played 2 Blitz and Sussex, I think.
You played Blitz
Yeah,
twice. The Hornets have played. You have played Blitz twice, I believe.
So I played 2 games. I played the second Blitz game and I played the Sussex game.
Okay. Do you feel the difference between playing Prem teams to playing Division 1 teams?
Yes.
What would you say the big difference is?
There's a few. I think athletically, I think. So let me caveat this by saying there are obviously players in Div 1 that can play and are athletically as good as a Prem.
Yeah.
In Prem, they are consistently athletic, big, strong, fast. And I think the thing with Prem is when you take the top teams in the Prem, they're just so the players know their playbooks. They everything is polished. You see what I mean? Like there's, all the balls are polished. Everybody knows what they've got to do. They know their responsibilities. They know their assignments. They know exactly what they're well drilled. I don't want to say they're well coached because that's not. I don't want to take anything away from the Div 1 coaches. But these players have obviously got in their playbooks. There's no question about whether you should be in your playbook. It's, if you want to play here, this is what it's going to be. And I just think there's a little bit more polish on it. But athletically, I think there are more athletes in the Prem because that's where they gravitate to. But there are also a lot of players in Div 1 that could easily get into Premiership team.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair to say. So obviously you're moving up north. So this is a short-term goal. And do you feel like that short-term goal going to be possible? Or I'm going to throw it out there because they're the only team that's really undefeated, and I've seen a bit of their plays and they are pretty strong. Do you feel that the cheaters will potentially stop you lot, or is it going to be one of those hard-fought battles to getting your goal accomplished?
It's a hard question for me to answer because so when I was playing in Div 1 at Kent, Hertfordshire Cheaters were a team that everyone used to just clap, and they've got good. And obviously, I've not paid any attention because I'm no good at that. So I've not seen Hertfordshire Cheaters. So the best way for me to answer it is, if they want to stop us, it'll be the hardest game of the season.
Okay.
I don't need to see them to know that. Like we will. There's no relent, there's no stop, there's nothing but pressure when it comes from Hornets on both sides of the ball. So if Hertfordshire want that game, then they're going to need to take it because I've not seen them. I don't know how good they are. There aren't, but there's just no stop in any of those Hornets players, man. They don't know, they haven't got a brake pedal, none of them. So we'll come for it.
Okay, I like it. So, all right, I've asked this quite a few times. Do you feel that there are too many teams in Britball? Do you think you don't?
I think maybe we need to structure it better, but I think, okay, maybe I want there to be as many teams as we can possibly handle because I want to grow this game.
Yes.
Now, there might be an argument to say that more teams may not necessarily grow in a positive way and we should put more into the teams that are there and focus the players there. So I appreciate that. But I don't know. More football is only ever going to be good for us in our sport and what we're all trying to achieve here. But I appreciate the other side of the argument. Actually, putting players into the existing teams might be a better use of everyone's time.
Yeah, because obviously in my aspect, I've been looking and I've been like obviously checking all the scores of every game that happened, but then it gets to that point where I'm leading to a question here. But I've noticed that you're seeing teams scoring 70 points every week against teams. You're seeing teams getting shutouts every week against certain teams. Do you not feel that it's too diluted where you're not going to be able to get a really good product? I understand that football is you can always have more football, but if it's overly diluted and games are being consistent blowouts, do you not feel that sort of hinders the development of the game? Because let's say you got Bristol Apaches, they're beating teams in their division by 70 points nearly every week. Do you not feel that is there a point to that?
Yeah, and I see the point you're making, really. I mean, the thing is that I feel like the promotion relegation system is designed to defeat that. Like if you're beating teams 70 every week, you go to the Prem and the theory, I suppose, is that you're playing better teams. But yeah, I haven't really thought about it that way. But yeah, we don't want to dilute it too much. But I think we don't want to step away from. I think a lot of people. There was a rumor I heard. I don't know if it was a rumor that Warriors were going to get made to go and play in Europe or something, or they had to go and play in Europe or something. And I always think that sounds to me like a cop out. Like if you want the Warriors to stop beating everybody 15-0, let's go beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's been a consistent thing in this interview. It's like me buying big Warriors. I respect the Warriors a lot, but why should they be made to go to another league because we haven't worked out a way to be competitive against them?
Yeah.
I think every team has got the opportunity to recruit the same players from the same places. I appreciate some teams have got more clout than others, Filton and Bristol, and obviously the Warriors with their coaching and the experience that they've got and things like that. But, we've all got the opportunity to recruit players. We've all got the opportunity to do what they've done. And we need to find a way to beat these better teams. And I think we just need to be a little bit careful that we don't turn around and say, right, well, Bristol, you're too good, so, you go somewhere else. I think it's a cop-out, and I think that the people that are pushing for that, if that was for the reason, let's make the Prem more competitive by taking the best team out of it.
Yeah.
No, let's make the Prem more competitive by putting more into the teams and trying to close that gap. But I appreciate, the dilute. For me, I think, the answer initially was more football is, more exposure and, more fans and, getting people on it. But I agree with what you're saying. We don't want to dilute the pool too much because otherwise, those blowout games are just going to consistently keep happening.
Yeah, because there were things that I was looking at. So obviously in the Premiership North, just like the Premiership South, there's always that one team that's getting absolutely battered. So at the moment, it is the London Olympians for the Premiership South.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got, in the North, you've got Sandwell Steelers. Now, Sandwell Steelers destroyed the Division 1 up there, but then now they're the whipping boys for the North.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that, well, that's how I felt, but do you think that if some teams that are up there, so I know in some areas there are like two teams in a spot, where don't you think if that one team came together, they could potentially put out a decent squad and actually have the right sort of things going forward? And then we won't need as much referees to having coaches ref games and find people that can officiate games. Don't you think that it'll probably make things a lot easier?
Yeah, I think it would, but then my thought is, if you're not in if you let's say we merge two teams. Let's say we merge, pick two teams out of the top of my head. I don't even know something. Let's say we merge Colchester Gladiators and Exiles.
Yeah.
Top players will go and play whatever team name you keep. Will go and play. What are we going to do with the players that don't make that? Are there going to be teams available for them, or are we just going to cut maybe 50 people that love this game and want to push this game and promote this game? Because there's no team left, because we've dissolved effectively one of those two teams. You're going to have some players that are displaced that want to play and have every right to. So I know I can see the theory of it, and I can be quite elitist. I think the best players should play, and I think everybody that's not the best player should, target someone that's in front of them in the roster and go after them. But at the same time, I think this sport is for everybody, it's for all of us, and I think we still need to find a way to take those displaced players that are not quite ready to play at these high levels and give them an opportunity to carry on playing as well. Because otherwise, how are we going to keep growing, and how are we going to, get these players a chance to progress?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think about it in that sense as well. I just keep thinking of undiluted in the game and just trying to get the best product that you can out there so that it's more inclusive. Because again, as you said before, we fill up Tottenham Stadium, we've filled up Twickenham and Wembley for 4 games that come to the UK, and so we know that there's interest in it, and obviously the promotion wise needs to get up there, and the product of the game, so the athletes need to get better. So do you see that in maybe 5-10 years time that the UK game would be semi-pro potentially if it gets better? Or
I'd love to. I'd love that to
will
happen.
people be going abroad still because it's just not growing?
I don't see how the game can't grow. I think the way that the fact that people love football, and the NFL is huge, and actually it's only from when I've really been, because I liked, like I said, I liked the Giants for years, but it was only when I started playing football that you realise that, damn, there are a lot of American football fans here, and you used to watch a Super Bowl at home on your own, and you realise that there are whole bars and everything like that open, packed full of people. So I think the appetite is here, and everyone loves a local team. Everyone loves a local team. This is what we do with football. And whether it'll be in 5 or 10 years, I don't know. I think what we need is exactly what's happening. We need the NFL pathway. We need like players like Effie and stuff to go to America and show that actually there are ballers that can come from it. And the reason I think this is because it happened with MMA. MMA was almost entirely dominated years ago by Americans or Brazilians and Russians.
Oh.
And then you had Michael Bisping and that come through, and even people like Conor McGregor and that came through and realised that you don't have to necessarily be American to be a good fighter. And then people then start to get contracts over here, like Michael Venom Page and Paddy Pimblett and people like that start to get into the UFC.
Yeah.
And then people I train with now have got UFC contracts, which five years ago was just unheard of. So I think we're going the right way. I think we just need to, the players that are going out there and doing the right things are helping massively. And I just think the structure of clubs, I sound like an Exiles fanboy, but I think Kent have got the right idea. They're building from the ground up. They've got a solid club, and their next goal is to find a way to make games ticketable, so we do start to generate a bigger fan base and things like that. And I think that's everyone should. The Blitz do the same thing, Maybe B teams are the way to defeat that problem. We just maybe you got the A team, and then the displaced players play for the B team, and we work it out that way.
Yeah, that could sort out the dilution sort of situation as well to the standard. Okay, so you might not be playing after this year, but I want to do a little fun little thing. In 5 to 10 years time, who are going to be the top boys in Britball?
Oh, in 5 to 10 years. I can't see I'm not saying the Warriors are going to be winning everything. I think they'll still be there. I think the Blitz's structure is fantastic. I think they're still going to be in amongst it. Kent will, Kent have got that. Kent have got that plan, and I think as long as they recruit and they retain players, they'll do well. I think the Premiership will look similar to what it is now, and obviously Hornets will be in it. They'll be in up there. I think I can't see the face of Britball changing drastically in the next 5 years.
Okay.
I think it might need a little bit more, but I don't think the Warriors are still going to be winning everything like they are. I think there are teams that are working hard to catch them up, and I think they're going to end up doing it.
Okay. So okay. Okay. So if the ELF, the European League of Football, there was a team that was made in the UK. Now, do you feel that that would benefit Britball or hinder it?
I think you're going to take the best Britball players to the year, lad. I think ultimately it'll probably help because I think it's going to give the players something to aim at.
Yeah.
Presumably it's going to be a pro league or a semi-pro league. I'm not sure, but it'll give everybody something to think. I've got a goal now. If that's something I want to get to, and I want to get paid for doing this, that's where I've got to get to. I think it'll probably dilute down the some of the players from the lower leagues, like in Prem and everything like that, and might even that out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help. And I think also it's going to give the NFL and the bigger European leagues a team to look at to start opening that as well. So I think it'll probably end up being, don't want to call it a stepping stone, but I think it will ultimately only benefit.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree. That would probably be the best thing if that was to happen. So, that was interesting. So, with you obviously taking up the coaching, starting to do coaching manual, if you could have your own team, who would you have as your coaching staff?
Ooh, who would I have as my coaching staff? To compete what, a uni, or to compete in
Let's go Britball. So yeah, let's go Baffa.
I'd have John Moore as head coach. I'd have P as
No,
the
your head
defensive
coach.
coordinator.
Your head
I'm
coach.
head coach.
Your head
in that
coach.
case, if I'm head coach, well, I'd have John Moore as the offensive coordinator. I'd have Coach P as the defensive coordinator. I'd have Coach Junior. I'd have him on special teams because he's got some good special teams players there. But I'd also have him probably coaching maybe the defensive line. I'd have Coach Malcolm Phillips. Malcolm Phillips is an absolute great, probably as a wide receiver coach.
Okay.
Or I don't know else actually. Joe Alexis I'd have in there. Yeah, I don't know how many coaches. I could probably pick a bag of players to come and coach. Really, the thing is, my exposure to coaches has been fairly limited because I've only played at 2 teams, and Hornets only really have a couple of coaches.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've been on these teams or played GB where you get exposed to coaches from all sorts of other teams. I'm sure there are loads of good coaches out there. Cameron Flood, Jonathan Cobham, as well as being an absolute baller, is a really good linebacker coach as well at KCL. Joan and stuff. So there's an absolute load of them, but I haven't had that much exposure to be calling out like coaches from Tamworth or Blitz or Warriors and stuff.
Okay. So you just mentioned GB, funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you had started this game, if you had started playing a lot earlier, would you have been a part of the GB setup?
I'd definitely tried to be, yeah. I think I would have made the team.
Okay.
And I know GB get like a bad time because they do go away and they struggle and stuff away, but it's still something that I think you should be proud of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm not saying everyone should aspire to do it, but why wouldn't you? You get more football, you get more coaching. It's something you can say you've done. You get to travel and play against better players abroad. But I don't see any downsides. I know there was always a bit of trouble with GB. I know that when the new coaching staff come in, like I had a long conversation with Neil about it, about how he was cut from the GB team without any explanation. I think that's a bit shady.
Yeah.
But again, like these are not things that I've been personally exposed to. So, I can't speak up on people's stories. So from what I've seen, yeah, hell yeah. Why wouldn't you win?
Okay. So how do you feel about this? So are you looking forward to watching this blue versus white game that they're doing next week?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's loads of boys in it that we know. Like I say, I always mention Ibs. He's probably one of the hardest O-line I've come against. It's always good watching him. James Cook, who's playing quarterback, and he's an absolute baller. There's some really good running backs and wide receivers. There's a few from Kent and stuff that, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It'll be good.
Okay. So do you know if James Cook is back in England or is he going right back out to America to play?
The last I heard, he was out of the country, but I think he's coming back for the game. I've not spoken to him for like a week or so, but he's coming back for the game. Okay.
And I'm just going to throw it out there. Who do you think is going to win, blue or white? Have you seen the rosters?
I've seen the rosters, but only very, very quickly. I think I've got to go white because I think most of the Kent boys were on the white team, so I'm going to back the white.
So going with the whole favourites, I get that. I get that. Okay, so that to be fair, that should be fun. I probably will try get out there myself, but I don't know yet. So, final question: your
Okay.
final thoughts on your playing career and what you'll potentially do in the future.
Playing career, I think, yeah, I'm proud of it. Like I enjoyed it. Maybe stayed a year too long in Prem. It's probably, I'd say it's a regret. It's not, I still got the opportunity to play. I got to play for some good coaches. That would have been the only thing that I would have changed. Played at Kent, had some success there, got into the Prem, made the decision to move to Hornets, and I'm loving it now. I think we're going to do well. Well, I think we're going to do well. I
Yeah.
said. In the future, move up north, and see what they've got from up there, mate. Definitely coaching. Like I got bit by the coaching bug.
Okay.
I'm not ready to walk away from the game stuff. So hopefully there's somewhere up there that I can land and contribute.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Oh, wait. Your records going well. You said they're going to go undefeated, so yeah, that question's pretty much obsolete for the Hornets there. So I am going to be guessing that come August, the end of August, there will be chance that Hornets will officially be a Premiership team, and
Yeah.
we'll get to see players that haven't played in the Prem finally doing it, and it should be fun. But again, thank you, Lee, for taking your time out or today and actually doing this with me, and it has
You're
definitely been a
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, man. It's been good fun. Thank you.
Thanks.